Hello and welcome back to Dexter's Weekly Rant. This week I'm unpacking the mess of a debate on DEI versus MEI. If you're new to the show, I'm Dexter Cousins, your host and the founder of Tier 1 People, the executive search firm trusted by Revolut, Wise, Lendy and many others to find exceptional leaders for mission-critical hires. If you love Fintech, make sure to follow and leave a review, and if you're watching on YouTube, drop us a like and subscribe. DEI versus MEI, or can you have both? There's a huge movement at the moment in the US in the tech industry to roundly reject DEI in favour of a new term, MEI, merit, excellence and intelligence. But why is there an assumption that it's a binary choice? I'll be clear, I absolutely believe in diversity, but it won't make your business perform any better if you don't hire or promote on merit. So to my mind, both DEI and MEI must coexist. The original study that often gets cited regarding diversity improving business performance is the McKinsey Report titled Diversity Matters, published in 2015. I'll put a link in the show notes. But the study analysed hundreds of companies across various industries and countries, and it found that companies in the top quartile for gender diversity were 15% more likely to have financial returns above their respective national industry medians. Companies in the top quartile for ethnic diversity were 35% more likely to outperform their industry peers in terms of financial performance. The study highlighted that diverse teams bring different perspectives, which can lead to more innovative solutions and better decision-making. This diversity of thought is believed to contribute to improved business outcomes, including increased profitability and value creation. But what they didn't assess was the caliber of talent. Let's be honest, we live in a world full of unconscious bias, where most companies hire the safe option. In banking, this is usually a middle-aged white guy with 30 years banking experience. If a company is going to hire someone who fits outside of this avatar, they have to be pretty damn special. So what if it wasn't diversity that improved business results? But what if it was the overall talent of the executive team? I think the real issue we're dealing with is the majority of companies hire based on competency and diversity metrics, rather than meritocracy and diversity. In large companies, hiring decisions tend to be made on risk versus upside, not just risk to the business, but risk to the hirer's job and their career. Competency is the baseline requirement for someone to perform the job. So could this be why there are so many bad hires and why we have such poor leadership? Competent people are usually threatened by people who are hired on their merits. The result when you hire based on competency and diversity is a company that doesn't perform, and top performers are blocked and end up leaving. The McKinsey research focused on gender, ethnicity, and race. These are superficial data points when it comes to correlating business performance. The big problem is most businesses are focused on the risks and end up making the safe hire, i.e. the hire they won't get sacked for. Or even worse, it's jobs for the boys where MEI and DEI are totally thrown out of the window. We see this approach all too often in banking, where they appoint the middle-aged white guy who has 30 years experience, or the internal candidate, despite running a global search. If done right, hiring using an MEI framework should lead to more diverse workplaces. At Tier 1 People, we focused on meritocracy-based principles since 2017. When hiring on merit, we have to deeply assess behaviours, values, and the attributes required to perform in specific roles and environments. Startups and scale-ups are very challenging places to work. Often people are having to perform under pressure with minimal resources. If a candidate doesn't have the merits required, they will likely fail and often suffer stress, and the wrong hire for our clients can often make or break their business. We simply have no choice but to hire on a candidate's merit, excellence and intelligence to give them and our clients any chance of success. Applying a meritocracy-based approach has resulted in 40% of executive leadership roles being filled with female candidates. This is based on over 200 appointments made through Tier 1 people since 2017. I've seen firsthand when you get the merits right, you will solve diversity. Want to know the merits we look for? Mission-driven, critical thinking, empathy, accountability, respect for others, clear evidence of results with context to the resources they had available, ability to adapt and learn under pressure, get shit done when facing adversity, resourceful. Meritocracy helps you tap into a much wider talent pool. One of the ways to assess someone's suitability to a startup is to dig into their background. Immigrants have had to deal with lots of stress and challenge, starting a new life in a new country. This can give clues as to their ability to adapt to environments successfully. Most immigrants tend to come from hard-working families, or they've come here to study. They're already passing the MEI test before the DEI quota test. Another great example might be mums returning to the workplace. I don't think I've ever seen a more focused, adaptable hire than a mum juggling the demands of work with caring for a child. Look at the list I mentioned before. This perfectly describes my wife when she went back to work. Juggling daycare, travel to and from the city every day, and keeping the household together. If you'd like to find out more about the approach of Tier 1 people, and if you like today's rant, let me know. I'd love to get your thoughts on the DEI versus MEI debate. Until next week, keep well